All right, let's turn up the volume, because today we're going to dive deep into the world of French rap.
Ooh, exciting.
But, like, not the French rap you hear on every radio station,
Okay, yeah.
We're going deeper, like way deeper. We're trying to figure out why more women, LGBTQ, and minority artists aren't getting more attention in this scene.
That's a really good question, right? Because, like, French rap is huge.
Huge.
But when you look at who's actually topping the charts and getting all the awards and stuff, it's not exactly a picture of diversity, is it?
No, not at all. And to help us unpack this whole thing, we're going to be checking out this super interesting interview from the Madame Talk Europe podcast.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they talked to Thérèse, who's a French-Asian rapper.
Okay.
And Antoine Dabrowski, who's like this big-time editor at Tsugi Radio. So
Nice. So they're coming at this from, like, different angles.
Exactly. And they had a lot to say about what it's really like trying to make it in an industry that honestly can feel a little stuck in its ways.
Well, that's putting it mildly.
Well, I mean, get this right. The French National Music Center, that's the CNM.
Right, the data people.
Yeah, they put out this whole report about how rap is basically dominating the music scene in France.
Which, like, we already knew.
Right. Millions of streams,
Yeah.
#1 hits, it's everywhere you go.
Everywhere.
Okay, but then you get to the part of the report where they break down who's actually making the music. And, get this,
Oh.
women. Less than 2% of the artists on the charts.
Seriously.
2%.
You're kidding.
I know, it's crazy.
That is wild.
It's like, what decade are we in?
Right. It just goes to show you, like, there's this huge disconnect between who's actually creating the music and then who's getting the support and recognition to actually make it big.
It's like this whole other world of talent that's hidden in plain sight.
Totally.
And get this, Madame Rap.
Yeah.
The platform that promotes women and LGBTQ hip-hop artists.
Yeah.
They've actually identified, like, almost 500 women rappers in France alone.
Wow.
I know. So they're out there creating amazing music, but for some reason, they're not breaking through to that mainstream level.
Right. Like, what's stopping them?
That's the question.
Yeah.
And that's where this interview gets really interesting, because Thérèse talks about how, get this, she was told that her musical style, which is already super diverse, it's got like electropop, techno, rap, all mixed together in French and English and even Chinese.
Wow. She's got range.
Right. But they told her that was a problem.
Seriously.
Yeah. Like, they heard her unique sound, and instead of being into it, they basically just wanted to put her in a box.
It's like, guys, come on. It's 2024. Like,
Yeah.
the more unique, the better, right?
Exactly.
Like, that's what people want to hear.
You'd think. Right.
Yeah, you'd think.
It just doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't.
Like, how does this even happen?
I think it's because you've got all these artists who are just trying to make it, right? And when they come up against these industry gatekeepers who have this really narrow idea of what sells, it's just easier to just go with the flow.
But they end up compromising their own sound, their own vision.
Exactly. And what's the point of that,
No, total.
We need to celebrate what makes artists unique, not try to erase it.
100%. It's like walking into an art gallery and only seeing paintings that use the color blue.
Right. Like, where's the excitement in that?
Exactly. And it's not just about the music itself either, right?
Oh, no, it gets worse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So Thérèse is telling this story, and she basically says that she was told straight up that, quote-unquote, marketing a woman is just way more expensive.
Wait, are you serious? Like,
Yeah.
they actually said that?
They actually said that to her face.
What is this, the 1950s?
Right.
It's like, come on. We're talking about a music, not, like, launching a spaceship here.
It's ridiculous.
It's totally ridiculous. And what's with this whole hair, makeup, wardrobe argument? I mean, plenty of male artists invest in their image, too.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, it's just such a lazy excuse, and it completely misses the point.
It's like they haven't heard of, like Billie Eilish or something.
Right. Like, some of the biggest artists out there right now are breaking all these old school rules.
Exactly. Okay, but here's the good news.
Okay, there's good news.
Yeah. So the interview doesn't just focus on, like, all the negative stuff,
Okay, good.
They actually talk about some potential solutions, which I think is really cool.
I like solutions.
Yeah, me too.
So tell me more.
So one thing that came up was the whole idea of independent labels and artist collectives, like how they're changing the game.
Oh, absolutely. Like, these indie labels, they're not afraid to take risks.
Right. They're not just looking for, like, the next cookie-cutter pop star.
No way. They're all about finding artists with a unique vision, something special,
Totally. And they're actually willing to work with artists to develop that vision,
Yeah.
not just like force them into a mold.
Exactly. And I think that's what Thérèse found with her own label.
Right.
She's not just a number on a spreadsheet to them.
It's like they actually care about the music.
Yeah, and about her as an artist, as a human.
It's so refreshing, honestly.
It really is. And it gives me hope.
Mm.
Like, there are other ways to succeed in this industry. You don't have to play by the old rules.
And you don't have to compromise who you are.
Exactly. Okay, now get this, because the story is just like mind-blowing. Antoine's talking about how he was chatting with this music festival programmer, the person who decides who plays the festival.
Yeah.
And this programmer, they actually said, and I quote, "There are no women headliners in France."
Wait, seriously?
Dead serious? Can you believe that?
That's like insane. What about like Yasult or Aya Nakamura? Hello.
Right. Like, these are huge artists. And it gets even crazier because this conversation happened just a few years before artists like Claire Luciani and Juliette Armand were selling out massive shows.
Like they're living in a different reality.
Right. Like, come on, open your ears.
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
But speaking of amazing women in French music, we got to talk about Thérèse's new project, Tiger Bomb.
Oh, yeah. Tell me everything.
Okay, so it's this really cool support network for, specifically, Asian descent artists in France.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
It is. It's all about building connections, helping each other out, especially in an industry that can feel really lonely sometimes.
Totally. It's like having a built-in support system, people who get it.
Exactly. And the name, Tiger Bomb.
Wow.
I love it.
So good.
Right. It's like powerful. It's in your face.
Yeah.
It makes a statement.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about Thérèse. She's not just talking about change. She's out there making it happen.
I know. And not just with Tiger Bomb, right? She's also part of this commission that's all about gender equality in the music industry.
No way. She joined the establishment.
Yeah. She's working to change things from the inside out.
That's amazing. It takes guts to do that.
Total guts. She was saying how important it is for artists, especially artists from marginalized communities, to use their platform to speak up,
Just fight for what they believe in.
Exactly. But, and this is a big but,
Uh-oh.
we all know the music industry is a business.
Oh, yeah.
So how are artists, especially like new artists, supposed to actually make a living?
Right, especially with streaming and all that.
Like, how do they pay their bills?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, and it's something both Thérèse and Antoine were really honest about in this interview.
Like, it's not easy.
Not at all. They both basically said that the way things are set up right now, especially with these streaming platforms, it's incredibly tough for artists to actually earn a decent living.
I've heard those stories like, you need like a bazillion streams just to make like a couple $100.
It's ridiculous. No wonder so many artists are struggling.
And it creates this pressure to like constantly be churning out new music.
Yeah, like just pump out the content, even if it means sacrificing quality.
And even if it means like totally burning yourself out.
Exactly. And then you're stuck in this vicious cycle where you need exposure to get streams, but you need streams to like live and afford to promote your music.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
Right. And Thérèse made this really interesting point about the whole starving artist thing, like that whole romantic idea of artists being broke and miserable.
Yeah, like it's some kind of badge of honor.
Right. And she was like, no, that's not right. Like, artists deserve to be able to live and create without having to choose between their art and, like, paying rent.
Totally. So how do we get there? Like, if streaming pays so little and there's all this pressure to constantly release new stuff, how can artists actually build careers that are, like, sustainable?
It's the million-dollar question, right? But I think both Thérèse and Antoine had some really insightful things to say about this.
Okay, like what?
Well, they both agreed that a lot of it comes down to us, the listeners.
Okay, how so?
It's about being more conscious of how we consume music, Like, yeah, streaming is easy, but it doesn't really do much for the artists, especially the ones who aren't already super famous.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So instead of just adding another song to your never-ending playlist, what if you actually bought the track?
Oh, directly from the artist.
Exactly. Or went to a show and grabbed some merch.
Yeah, I mean, I do that sometimes, but I guess I could definitely do it more often.
Afraid. It all adds up.
And it's a way to directly support the artists you love.
Exactly. And beyond that, it's about, like, where you get your music news from, who you're giving your attention to.
Oh, like, are you reading those big corporate music magazines, or are you supporting independent publications?
Exactly. Because those indie outlets are often the ones who are really championing emerging artists, the ones who are pushing boundaries and challenging the status quo.
So it's about changing the whole narrative, right? Like, what makes music good or successful? Because right now, it feels like the same voices are always the loudest,
Yeah.
and those voices don't always represent the incredible diversity of talent that's out there.
100%. And that's what made Therese's final point so powerful, I think.
What was that?
She reminded us that music and art in general has value way beyond just like commercial success.
Yeah, it's about something bigger.
Exactly.
Oh.
It's about connecting with something deeper, finding your people, understanding different perspectives, feeling all those emotions that only music can evoke.
It's like a universal language.
Exactly. And you can't put a price tag on that. So true. Well, there you have it. We dove deep into the world of French rap, talked about the challenges, the triumphs, and most importantly, how we can all be a part of creating a more inclusive and equitable music industry.
For everyone.
Yes. To all the artists out there breaking barriers and pushing boundaries, we hear you, we see you, and we're here for it.
Keep making noise.
And to all of you listening, we hope this deep dive inspired you to think differently about the music you love and how you can support the artists who are shaping the sounds of tomorrow.
Until next time.
Stay curious and keep those beats bumping.